Hey friends, it's Joe from DadBod. Welcome to Tokyo. It's about 5:40 in the morning and 40 degrees, and we're gonna go for a light recovery jog. Sorry, I'm bobbling my phone around. So we got maybe like 2 miles today. Shouldn't be a big deal. I'm a little sore. I did a stretchy workout with my wife and I overstretched because I'm hypermobile, so I have a little bit of lower back discomfort today. So I'm just gonna try to be careful with that. Let me get my phone out. You might actually catch a sunrise today, which is rare. Having a slightly later start, still adjusting to baby number 4. Love the little guy. He's great, but he wakes up, as all babies do. For those of you who don't have any babies, let alone 4 of them, you may not be aware that as the babies grow and develop, their stomach gets bigger. But in the beginning, it's the size of a walnut. Yes, just a walnut. So, because of that, you can only fit so much in a walnut. So they have to eat and go poop frequently. Come on, phone. See if this is working. I'll skip my ad. Though I guess I shouldn't skip ads because I get paid. But we'll start running in a minute. I'm just getting everything set up on my phone. Turn off auto rotate. Put on my glove. Today. So because of the lower back stuff, I'm really going to focus on form here. I'm going to modify the as well as the intensity. I'm just out here to recover physically, spiritually, get myself put together. Alright, so we'll do a couple deadlifts over here where the ground's level. Let's do a deadlift, squat. Oh, feel the knees. Deadlift, squat, and then deadlift. Squeeze the butt, tuck the core. That's hard. Roll the shoulders back. Nice and mellow. Half marathon pace. Gradual lean forward. So it's funny. One of the cool things about goals is like when you achieve them, if you stop, then you always have like these regressions in progress. So you always have to kind of know like what your next is. Otherwise you'll backslide in various capacities. And it makes sense, right? Like you always got to be pushing for something in order to learn and grow. And for me, I've done 3 half marathons in Japan so far. We built the DadBod half marathon journey, which makes long distance running accessible to your average Joe. You know, folks like me who are heavier set, have pre-existing health conditions or injuries, which is also a free journey. And now I'm starting to think about like, well, what other content can I do? One of the things I'm interested in is there's a book called Rebuilding Milo. It's by a guy called Squat University. He used to be a power lifter and he's a physical therapist. And the book systematically goes through every aspect of your body and checks for injuries or like load intolerances, flexural intolerances, which just means movement. And then it has different rehabilitation pathways. But what's helpful about it is like anyone could kind of self-diagnose with the book and self-treat to some extent. There is an importance to like real world care like physical therapy. But from a financial perspective, a 30-minute session or an hour-long session, depending on your insurance, could be like $300. This book's $15, right? So I think it does an amazing job at creating access to this knowledge and being able to self-diagnose various things. So one of the evolutions of DadBod is I want to create a second series. I haven't figured out if I'll paywall it or not yet. Called Rebuilding DadBod. So basically work through the book, but provide like a video guide through it so people could see how I could self-diagnose various issues in my own body, self-rehab them, and then you can be like, oh, that's what I can do? That's very helpful. I like the idea of doing it for free and not paywalling it, just because it's like an additional support for the normal DadBod half marathon program, and I think people need that in their life. And if I put the right affiliate links and stuff in there and it gets the right amount of views, like eventually it'll become self-monetized but freely accessible. So I like that. And then the other piece though that I'm thinking about doing is after that, after kind of navigating that journey, rebuilding DadBod, self-diagnosing, looking to get certified in ATG, which sounds a little facetious, but it's like the Athletic Truth Group. It's basically a mindset around how to have strength through your entire range of motion on various exercises. It's like bulletproof your back and your knees. I was originally going to do that for certification right as I started parental leave, but what I realized is like I kind of want to get a baseline of where my load and flexural intolerances are already through the rebuilding Milo first. Like take the time to do that well, because I think it also gives me a better story. Like if I know exactly what my issues are, and I've been gaining them over time, but the book gives me the right clinical wording for it. Then when I go into ATG and get certified as a coach, I do also have kind of that before and after of like, I went in knowing these explicit issues with my current form and function, and at the end of training through the process, hitting they have like 10 standards you have to hit in order to be a coach. I don't really know which one's the hardest yet because I haven't done any of them, but one of them's a pull-up, like a perfect pull-up, and I was like, bro, I'm 300 pounds. Like I've already been doing a pull-up challenge. We're going on like 3 or 4 months without a single pull-up. Part of it's equipment related too. Like I'm just not set up to really train it at home properly. I have to build one. Well, those are the things I'm thinking about. So we'll see. It's a nice morning today. Beautiful. So it's kind of the evolution, the successive goals, the next mountain to climb. This year I'm gonna try to do 3 half marathons if my wife lets me. I gotta get approval. And honestly, the Monday runs are a little bit more challenging to fit because the evening sleep rhythm is far more erratic than it has been historically with the baby number 4 and still getting the kids off to school. So I train on my long runs on Monday morning, typically waking up at 4:30, 4, sometimes 3:30 if they're really long enough, and leaning on Felicia to help with morning rhythm and routine. But with a 4th baby, that's definitely not fair to her or the family. So trying to figure out what it looks like. I could shift the long runs later after drop off, but then I don't get the peace and quiet. Good pace, huh? Oh, no Mount Fuji. Oh, there's Mount Fuji. Oh yeah, that's the other mountain to climb. Like, I was legitimately looking into it. I was like, oh, should I think about climbing Mount Fuji? It's a little different than long distance running. I figured similar training is required. It's a long hike. Whew. And one of the things that I don't like anything that's uphill. Nope. If you've been here for our lives, you know how much I hate those stairs. Stairs get me every time. Mount Fuji's just vertical. There's no elevators on that mountain. So apparently the climb to the summit is about 7 hours if you take the hardest path. There's different paths and different starting points. And then the descent is 2 to 4 hours. Also, because of limited oxygen and altitude sickness, they encourage you to like camp at these little cabins on the way so you don't die. So there's all kinds of rules and process associated with it. What a lovely day. So we're almost halfway, making good progress. Lower back is under control, form's pretty good. Left quad, left knee's a little sore through the range of motion, so I'm monitoring it. Both of my shins are a little sore
which means I'm landing with my feet farther in front of my body than I prefer. So trying to re-engage the abs, lean forward a little bit, and land with my feet more under my body. Beautiful, beautiful day. It's like 4 degrees Celsius, 48 degrees Fahrenheit, clear sky, no wind. Yesterday was super windy. That was terrible. I tried to take the kids out. That was a mistake. Alright, we're gonna walk. The goal is recover, not push. Push is Monday and Friday. Wednesday's recover. Oh, hey, it's Angry Peanut Head, my good friend. Sorry I missed the start of the stream. Oh, but I'm here now. No problem, friend. So, Angry Peanut Head, you've been super encouraging for the couple lives I've seen you. First of all, thank you for that. Always a pleasure having you hang out with me while I wheeze my way through wherever I'm going. Today's a recovery day. So actually, like, heart rate started picking up and I was like, that's not really what today's about. So we're doing a nice walk, working a different range of motion as we travel distance, because your gait's very different from a jog to a run to a walk, so it's still a helpful exercise. My core's a little cut up. I had too much sushi yesterday. We went out for a revolving sushi party. Had a little bit too much. So my abs are paying for my overindulgence. But Angry Peanut Head, what do you do in the land of health and fitness? What's your rhythm or routine? Here's Kawasaki. Got a sunrise coming. The earth is tilting away or towards the sun. Very exciting. I'm gonna hit a couple deadlifts, a couple squats, push the butt back, squeeze the butt, drop, up, tilt it back, drop. Just working my knees. There's a really interesting cloud formation up ahead that's very fluffy looking and purple. It's kind of neat. Honestly, when I watched you, I started feeling motivated to work on myself again. You started rugby, that's awesome. Dude, this morning, I come from like a faith context. Like this morning I was praying, I was like, oh God, we're gonna go put a GoPro on our head and run. I have no control over who shows up, but I just hope it's encouraging. Like that was literally my prayer this morning. So I'm glad to hear you're hitting rugby again. Rugby was always that sport that I like was interested in, but never had proximity to. So I played baseball, I did wrestling, long distance running, and football. So I was a lineman for football, right? So one of the heavy hitters. And I got my 300-pound build, 6'3", not cut, right? So I'm a little fluffier. So like, I was always in awe of rugby because you are not padded to the same level and the hits look just as legitimate. And then I had a roommate in college. He was a huge partier guy, but also like a very solid rugby player. And the dude was part of the rugby club traveling around telling me about it. And I was like, I care about my brain. Like, I had enough concussions. I actually got concussed in wrestling, of all things. Back in high school, when I was a little smaller, I wrestled 285. I remember when I My weight, wrestling has like really tight weight classes. I think they're separated by around like 20 pounds. And then once you get up into the upper end, the gaps are much larger. So I think it goes like, if you go over 215, because it's like 185 to 215, which is a pretty good spread. But I think it's 215 to either 255 or 280 or 275. I can't remember if there's a couple levels in there. But anyway, it felt like one day I missed 215 and I was on like the low end of above 215. Like I was like 220 or something shameful. And I just couldn't cut 5 pounds because I didn't know how food worked and fitness and all the other things. And I ended up wrestling one guy who was on the top of that weight class, but cut like a legitimate athlete as opposed to a fluffy guy like me. And in wrestling you do something called shooting. Like you can shoot for someone's leg where you kind of drop into a lunge, try to like scoot from knee to knee. You shoot from knee to knee and try to grab their foot, their ankle, and trip them up, drop them on their back. But it's a vulnerable move if you're slow and you do it wrong, which I was. And I shot for this guy's knee, and he sprawled, which means you basically kick your feet and your hips away from your opponent, and then you put your hands or your forearms on their back and try to drive their face into the mat, and then you get behind them and flip them and pin them. Well, he sprawled on me with such vigor and weight and athleticism that I didn't even get my hands up. So I just landed with around a total of 500 pounds of force on my face, and it's not a forgiving mat at all. Oh, nice. Oh, cool. University. I know where that is. So I got slammed on my face, blacked out. And for the rest of the wrestling season, I wasn't able to wrestle because anytime someone tried to touch my face, I'd kind of flinch and have like a panic attack. It was a problem for a long time. It still gets me. Like if my kids are behind me wailing on me with like a pillow, if they hit me in the back of the head just right enough times, I start to anticipate the next hit, and I have like a mini freak out in my head over something as soft as a pillow. But because of that, I was still on the team, so they just put me in the hallway and be like, we'll go run. And they didn't give me any coaching, they just had me run laps for an hour and a half during practice. And eventually I was like, I kind of like this running thing. I'm kind of good at it, even though it's very large. And then that led to me running the mile on track, which was also very slow. But now I run half marathons. We have the same thing with the leg grab for tackling. Oh, it's awesome. In rugby, yeah, rugby, like, oh, it's a beautiful game to watch. I'm glad you're getting back into it. Watch your head. So we're gonna go down to the river. It's kind of like our mellow reflection spot. We'll see if I can cross a portion of it, but it varies from day to day depending on water height and my willingness to have wet socks. So Angry Peanut Head, how'd you pick your name? It's a wonderful name. There's a couple top tier names in our community. Dog Spaghetti is another one of my favorites. And back on the original Xbox, that was the first time I got a live account so I could play Halo Reach online. And I was like, what do I name myself? Because I knew I'd be crappy at shooters. So I was like, I need something that's like insulting, whether I kill the person or they kill me, because I just knew like I was gonna be a scrub. So I landed on a soggy meatball, because if you got killed by a soggy meatball, that just seems shameful. Like, a soggy meatball should not be lethal in any way, so clearly you're the problem if you got murked. But if you kill a soggy meatball, like, that doesn't feel like much of accomplishments either. So like, it felt like a double burn. They're building a nice bridge over here. It's gonna be great when they're done. The water looks high, so I don't think I can get across that. hungry peanut head. Yeah, I ain't got hops like that. That's a hop of confidence right there. That's about the same height as I am. Nope. Especially because it would have to be 100% committed. Like, I'd have to trust that my foot could land and launch with the momentum. And I am not Crash Bandicoot in real life, so no thank you on that jump. There was a day where the river was lower, and there's a couple rocks over here dry enough. In the past, I've taken off my shoes and kind of walked through it and then dried them off, but I have to go be a dad. So that's also probably not the best call for me. So my little peninsula is out of reach. I want to bring like a 2x4 over here and hide it in the reeds or something. I could climb that tree and jump. Also doesn't seem very safe. Let's see if there's anything over here. They keep changing this landscape. It used to have no bridge, and then these rocks would kind of go all the way out, and the peninsula was attached and it was really aesthetic and stuff. But now that they cut this like side path, which is pretty, it blocks me from here. Dogs used to go out here. Man, these urban planners start getting ideas. They don't understand that I just want to be over there. It'd be great. But it is pretty, quite nice. So one of the things I normally do, and again, this is kind of one of our interfaith, interspiritual dialogue things, like running for me has always been a struggle, whether it's from my concussion or eventually once I started doing long distance and track, and then to adulthood with all my back injuries and things like that. So when I first moved out to Japan, and even before transitioning out here, when we were relocating like 12 times trying to get to the country, I would go for shorter runs, like a mile, sometimes 2 miles. And at the halfway point, well, I was all out of breath, exhausted, and typically in pain because I didn't know how to run long distance safely yet. I had bad form. I would sit and just kind of like wrestle and war with God about various aspects of my suffering. So for some reason, it was very cathartic to run and experience physical strain and then kind of go through like the mental, spiritual strain. But as you folks are on the internet, swiping from thing to thing, there's not a lot of good, quiet spaces for reflection, and your life is likely noisy as well. And I know a lot of people don't have access to a beautiful river like I do that separates Tokyo from Kawasaki. So all I like to do, because it's like 6:16 in the morning, today I'll do 4 minutes where I just shut up and I kind of breathe and process through life and pray. But then you, coming from your own faith, spirituality, context or lack thereof, can just enjoy a quiet moment with nature, and I'll pick you up and we'll carry on with our day. So let me set you down somewhere cool, half aesthetic. Hopefully you won't fall in. Thanks for hanging out. All right, let's get you down here. That looks kind of naturey. Wish I had a rock. Guess I'll set the phone on me. All right, yeah, we'll go till 6:22, so I'll give you 5 minutes to just chill and think about life, all right? Let me know what you learn. I'll be right back. Hi friends, I'm back. Hope you've enjoyed your river time. I found this beautiful new spot. Not here, unfortunately for you, but I found a really cool spot. Is this a good picture? Let's see if we can take a picture really quick. Portrait mode. I like the cranes. I want to get the tip of the crane, but then I lose it. Rule of thirds. How's that look? Is that a good thumbnail? Turn, darn it. Oh, I have portrait lock on. Looks pretty nice. Alright. Squeeze the butt. Very important. Alright, turn that away. Pop you back in my bucket. But I found a beautiful, beautiful spot, which I will take you to next week. It'll be a treat. It's a little bit more scenic, a little closer to the water. Doesn't require me to scale or jump over anything, which I appreciate. All right, let's get our gloves on. Now I'm thinking, I'm just gonna do a chill walk back. Again, jogging would be within my capability. The only issue with walking back is timing might run a little late. Well, 20 minutes will get us back at 45. That's still probably fine. So it's just a matter of what works for us, you know? But let me set this down. Getting my gloves on. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do at all. Go back to that. All right. Whew. I feel good. I did some kind of deep squats just by a riverside. So over that way is actually really nice. So next time, friends, just had to do a little bit of extra exploring. I'm happy with what I found over there. All right. Whew, sore legs. Let's climb. Climb, 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 climb. That's good for me. People are starting to wake up, starting to take their dogs out and stuff, so it's a little busier than I'm used to. Normally out here at the witching hour. OG-san and his dog. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. I love how active elderly Japanese folks are. They're not perfect. I mean, nobody's perfect, but holistically, they get up and out on their bodies, which is super inspiring to me. I'm gonna jog a little bit. Just because there's people and I'm insecure. Everybody's waking up and going to work. Kind of an awkward transition near a bus stop. One of the things I try to do, first of all, is I run early. So I normally I just don't want people to feel awkward with a big white guy wearing a GoPro on his head. Because I was. So sometimes jogging makes everyone feel less uncomfortable. As opposed to me walking, it's a slower transition for everyone. Let me text my wife for a minute. I just got word that the kids are up. Oh no. On my way. So I walk in the middle of the road. Oh, we're almost done. Almost done. And the goal of today isn't a distance. It isn't speed. It's just about consistent progress, getting out on my body, waking up, staying on routine, consistency. And we talked about that a lot on Monday during the live as well. It's like the importance of consistency and progressing, even if you have to adjust pace, intensity. Sometimes just the action of showing up and checking the box, regardless of the how straight and perfect that check mark is, right? Just the action of saying, nope, you know what, did it done, moving on. Like, that discipline is so hard to build. I'm on day 282. There have been days where I have missed a checkbox, but I've continued to just incrementally count upwards regardless of perfection, because it's not what it's about for me. It's about the continuation of the journey from a 0 point. And as that number continues to get larger, right, as we look at the streak, it does give you a little bit of stubbornness to keep showing up. But you also have to be very careful that, you know, when COVID hits, like that happened for me, or we have a baby, which also happened for me, you know, when all these life things happen that edge their way in, that you don't then view that as a missed day or breaking the streak and now we're back at day 0. Like, no, that would mean it completely negates all the work you put into the journey. Now, if you miss a day and miss another day and keep missing days for multiple days and weeks, well, yes, you could totally regress. That's very normal, especially when people have like false expectations of the aesthetic progress they'll make with fitness based on what they see online. You know, they have this expectation that if they do this program created by this one person and they work really hard at it for only 20 minutes a day with no modification to activity level outside of that workout time, and no shift in how they approach food and overall health, wellness, sleep, like if they don't look at all the factors, then of course after a 30 or 50 day streak, you break the streak and you continue to have that streak broken for multiple days, and then you're totally back at the 0 point where you started. And I've done that on different programs where I thought I could just outwork poor eating. Like, I'm not pushing anyone towards fads or crash diets or things like that. My approach to food is not optimal, but you have to kind of start to become aware of the equation. Like, what you ingest is fuel, and then you have to burn the fuel. If you burn more than what you ingest by a small amount, you will be in a deficit, and over time you will lose weight but there's also various levers you have to pull to make sure that's sustainable and to make sure you're losing fat and not muscle, because your body can build both and lose both depending on the kind of strains or intentional stresses you put your system under. There's a whole bunch of magic to it. You know, like before a long run, I carb load. I eat intentionally, I eat big, because I want that sustained fuel sitting in my system. But I'm not loading on French fries. That's not how a carb load works. Right? Like you gotta feed yourself well. Oh yeah, are they actually doing things back here? Nice. There's a temple back there, so it looks like they're working on it. That's wonderful. All right, we just got this easy flight of stairs. It's one continuous flight, so it's, you can pretend it's just one set. All right, I can do that. Whew. Whew. Who put these stairs here? Oh my goodness. You know, like for me, it's just consistently choosing to put myself on a path that always has these stairs in my way. I could easily choose a different path. That consistency, that's in one way for like health and wellness. I think consistently putting yourself on those paths have some challenge, that put your body under controlled strain. That's the money. While not letting perfection and the inability to reach it block you from making steady, intentional progress. Because if I tried to lock a jog today, it's just not the right workout. My body's capable of it. Actually, I'd like to be on my legs a little longer. I like to rest and reset my mind, be present. I'm still breathing, walking up the hill, I'm still stretching things out. And a lot of people have to start right here. We're just learning, like, oh, I can put on shoes and walk. Absolutely. It's like one of the best things you can do for preventing heart disease and diabetes. It's not a magic bullet. Second, let me text my wife again. She's asking how far. Ooh. Yep, looks like no pull-up challenge today. Gotta get straight back. But I'm glad I woke up and got out of here. Yeah, it's messy. It's messy taking care of yourself, taking care of a partner, taking care of your kids, taking care of your job. It's all challenging in its own special way. And integrating all those pieces is nuanced for sure. So you just gotta do the best you can Today my best was a nice 40-minute walk with a little bit of jog at a couple spots and praying for 5 minutes by a river. And now I get to go turn on dad mode. Whew. I rarely get the sun on my back for these steps. That was nice. Just put one foot in front of the other. Stairs. That was a really nice shot with the stairs. Almost there, we just gotta walk down that way. Get home to my queen bee. In many ways, she is a queen bee. I mean, 4 human children is quite an accomplishment over the course of 10 years of marriage. It's pretty robust pacing. We're done now. I was joking with her. She doesn't like when I joke this way. I was joking and I was like, well, I mean, what about like, we could take that 5th shot towards twins. Like, think about how cute it would be to have baby twins. You got 4 big uns and a little set of twins at the end. She's like, shut up. Nope. She's making me get snipped. Not cool. But I understand. Snip, snip. Ouch. I was gonna say I should live stream it, but I can't live stream that. I could live stream the reaction. You're like, hey, could I like film this procedure? It's outpatient, I think. I'll tell them I want them to put me under. I want to be on full anesthesia. Put me in comatose. I'll pop out when you're done. Actually, one of my favorite content creators, I don't watch them a lot, but I've seen, you know, some of their stuff was like Red and Link. One video I did see by them, they got what they called like a brosectomy. Oh, I love that house. It's all concrete. Oh, it's so brutal. It's beautiful. It's pure concrete. Oh, I love it. Japanese architecture is sick. They don't have a lot of the same zoning laws as the US. Or even so you could just put a convenience store like right next to a house, right next to a school. Like any kind of building or municipality could kind of be like cookie cutter built on top of each other. And there's not a lot of rules with like how your house has to fit the estate, you know, like a homeowners association kind of noise. So it's pretty cool because you walk through stairs, especially if you find like some of the streets that are more affluent. It's just really interesting how much diversity there is in architecture. But every once in a while you see it's like that Googling over where it's like pure concrete. And it's not an apartment. Someone's like, I just want a concrete house with the press out pins. And I'm like, oh, it's so good. Gotta go. Hey, Angry Peanut Head. Catch you in the next stream. Thanks so much, bud. Keep changing the world. Good luck with your rugby. Getting healthy and fit. Love it. We gotta get you running a half marathon with me, bud. Get you on the program. Yeah, it's free. Except for the time and effort. And sweat and tears. And all the other side effects of running. Like chafage. Nobody signs up for chafage. But it signs up for them when they choose to run long distances. things get super extreme, like bleeding nipples. That's not fun. It's always an unpleasant surprise. And the shower after that, oh God. So who wants to run with me? Savage. All right. Friends, I gotta go be a dad. Thanks for an awesome live.